Welcome to the Association 100 Podcast. The A100 Podcast is an extension of our Association 100 bi-monthly newsletter that focuses on best practices, top trends, helpful ideas, and smart strategies and tactics that work in the world of associations. The podcast will feature meaningful conversations with association professionals across the country, taking a deeper dive into trending topics, offering insights that both inform and inspire.
Welcome back to another episode of the A100 Podcast. I'm your host, Colleen Gallagher, and today's episode is part 3 of our special 3-part series on using AI and PR. Once again, you're stuck with just me for this solo cast. I hope you've been enjoying these. I've had a lot of fun creating them, and this is a topic that I'm really passionate about and is just really near and dear to my heart. And so today, I'm going to dive into 2 more critical areas where I think AI can significantly enhance your PR effort. And that's crisis management and influencer identification and engagement. Both of these topics are also part of the 5 areas that we cover in our now just released AI ebook, 5 Ways to Use AI in Your Association's PR Efforts. If you want a copy, feel free to shoot me an email at cgallagher@onwardupward.com or visit the resource library page on our website. I'll stick that in the show notes too, so you can find it easily. Okay, let's talk crisis management and how AI can help. We all know that effectively managing a crisis is absolutely critical for any organization. However, it's not always easy to catch one forming until it's already hit and you're in the trenches doing damage control. So here's where AI can really be a game changer. You want to have an early warning system, right? Well, AI-powered tools can continuously monitor and analyze large volumes of data from social media, news, and other sources, evaluating them for positive or negative sentiment so that you can be proactive when a crisis is unfolding, not catching it too late. As an example, you can use tools like Meltwater or Brandwatch, which are equipped with AI capabilities to track sentiment in real time. And by setting up alerts for specific keywords or phrases, you can get notified immediately when there's a spike in negative sentiment. This will allow you to address those potential issues before they escalate, which is what we want. Thinking about developing that crisis management strategy, I hope you already have one, but we also have to tailor it to the crisis at hand when a crisis does arise. So AI can help you quickly pull together a crisis management strategy when this happens. It can look at historical data and patterns and predict how a crisis might unfold, plus the potential impact on your association's reputation, which is really important to think about. AI can also analyze the effectiveness of your team's response after the fact, so that way you can continue to improve your crisis management protocols, and you can also use that as a way to show your board, look, this happened, it wasn't great, but we took these steps, and this was the result of our response. And all in all, we did a really good job handling this. Now we know how to do better next time too. Here are a few practical steps to actually put this in action and do this. So sentiment analysis. Like we just talked about, ask your AI tool to analyze recent mentions of your organization and provide a sentiment breakdown. Historical data review, request a review of past crises similar to the current situation. This can give you insights into what strategies worked and what didn't, which could be just as important for you. Finally, strategy suggestions. Use AI to draft a preliminary crisis response plan based on successful strategies from the past and from past data, because you always want to be data-based when you're making decisions. No, I'm not telling you to just take this, copy paste it, hand it to your CEO and say, we're ready to go. Obviously, you need to think through what works, think through what you've known, look at the data. When we're thinking about that strategy suggestions, here are some prompts that you can use with AI to actually help you do this and to draft that preliminary response plan based on successful strategies from that past data we're talking about. So first, general crisis response plan. Ask it, can you help draft a preliminary crisis response plan for insert specific type of crisis based on successful strategies from past similar incidents? Follow that up with, what are key elements to include in a crisis response plan for insert specific type of crisis, and how should each element be addressed? Step 2, identifying those successful strategies. Ask it, analyze past crisis response plans for similar incidents in this insert specific industry and identify the strategies that were most effective. Follow that with what are the most common successful strategies used in crisis response plans for insert specific type of crisis in the insert specific industry. Sorry, there's a lot of fill in the blanks here, but that's how you make it custom to your industry and your association when you're actually putting this in. How do we customize that response plan? Step 3. Ask it straight up. How can we customize a crisis response plan for insert your specific association based on successful strategies for past crises in this industry? Follow that question up with provide a detailed crisis response plan template for insert specific type of crisis, incorporating successful strategies from past data. Step 4, getting to those communication strategies. Ask what communication strategies have been most effective in managing insert specific type of crisis for organizations in specific industry. Follow that up with draft a communication plan for insert crisis based on successful past strategies, including key messages, channels, and stakeholders. Step 5, mitigating the impact. Ask your AI, what actions can we take to mitigate the impact of this crisis based on successful strategies from past similar crises? And then follow that up with provide me a step-by-step plan for mitigating the impact of this crisis using effective strategies from past incidents. Step 6 is stakeholder management, a really important piece of crisis management that sometimes gets left out to the huge detriment of anyone facing a crisis. So ask your AI, what are the best practices for managing stakeholder relationships during a crisis based on successful past strategies in this specific industry? And then identify your stakeholders for the AI so that it knows who you're trying to reach and can help tailor the messaging and the outreach for them. Follow that up with draft a stakeholder management plan for this crisis, again, incorporating successful strategies from past data. And finally, you don't want to forget about the final step, which is the post-crisis analysis. Sometimes we get through that crisis and that feeling of, oh my God, we made it, I'm done, I'm going to forget about this, move on, let's never think about it again. But just like being prepared for a crisis before it happens, you don't want to not be prepared for the next one. So take that look back, see what you did well, have a plan and apply those lessons learned to the next time so that you don't get stuck in a similar situation or so that you handle it better. So ask your AI, first ask it what should be included in a post-crisis analysis report to evaluate the effectiveness of our response plan based on past successful strategies. And then follow that up with provide a template for a post-crisis analysis report that incorporates lessons learned and successful strategies from past crises. These are the prompts that are going to help you leverage AI to really create a comprehensive and effective crisis response plan tailored to your association's needs and based on proven strategies from past data. So that covers all of your bases there. Combating disinformation is something really important in today's world. And one of AI's most worrying negative impacts is the ability to assist malicious players in spreading disinformation and creating deepfakes. Fortunately, there are AI tools that can help you verify information and spot false media creations so your team can respond more swiftly if your organization becomes the target of such attacks. You can use tools like Truepic or Deepware to identify and verify the authenticity of images and videos. And these tools use advanced algorithms to detect inconsistencies that might indicate a deepfake. So while AI can be a valuable tool for crisis management, it's important to remember that nothing can replace common sense or human judgment, at least for now, which is always my caveat when talking about AI and where it's at. When a crisis does occur, though, it's just so essential for your team to balance the insights offered by AI with empathy, with nuance, and with ethical decision-making. Okay, that's my rant on crisis. So now let's shift gears. And we're going to talk about a totally different topic, influencer identification and engagement with AI. In the PR world, I think this is becoming increasingly important because the news cycle is harder and harder to break through. People are getting their news in different ways, and you have to be more creative and find different ways to get your voice out to reach your ideal audience. And every industry, large or small, has key people who help drive the conversation around important issues, upcoming events, and emerging trends. So this doesn't mean you have to go hire a Kardashian. That's not the kind of influencer I'm talking about. But spotting these influencers, which could be micro influencers or journalists, it can be challenging on your own. Influencer identification and engagement is an area where AI can help you work smarter, not harder. And I am always a fan of that. Let's talk about identifying the right influencers. So AI can help you analyze content across various platforms to zero in on those creators whose backgrounds, values, audiences, and connections align well with your association. Its ability to conduct an in-depth and historical search of an influencer's content, from articles to posted images and videos, can also help you avoid partnering with someone who maybe is misrepresenting themselves or whose past activity could end up creating PR challenges for your team down the line. There are tools like Tracker and Clear that use AI to help you find influencers that match very specific criteria relevant to your association. You can search it by keywords, by audience demographics, engagement rates, or even past content themes to really ensure a good fit. The next piece is crafting that targeted outreach. So thinking again to how AI can analyze past content can give your team the insights you need to really effectively target your outreach to those key influencers and journalists that you have identified. I think I've said this before on one of these other solo casts, but more than half, 54% of PR professionals who have adopted generative AI say they use it to crack pitches. That was in Muckrack's 2024 State of the AI and PR report. This is no different than pitching a reporter. You've got to craft a pitch for an influencer. Here's how you do it. Content analysis. Use AI to look at the influencer's past content, identify common themes and interests. It's great at taking a ton of content and pulling out those threads for you, which could take a long time otherwise. Tailored messaging. I talked about this a lot in my pitching episode last week, but no different here. Ask AI to draft a personalized outreach message that highlights why the influencer would be a good fit for your campaign and what unique value they can bring. Engagement strategy is the last piece here. Ask AI to suggest the best times and platforms to engage with the influencer based on their activity patterns. You don't want to invest your time and effort with an influencer and have it fall flat because you aren't optimizing how you're moving forward with this effort. So think about that piece of it too. When it comes down to it, AI can be a really powerful tool in ensuring you get the right message to the right people. It helps streamline your efforts and provides data-driven insights that can enhance your PR strategies. I hope you've enjoyed this series. I know we've hit on a lot of different topics over the last 3 weeks here, but I also want to leave you with a little teaser. We're working on an AI and PR toolkit that's going to be available really soon for association professionals. And it's going to give you resources, templates, videos, guides that are really going to help you take that next step to integrate AI into your PR efforts a lot more effectively. Additionally, we're going to be leading a series of workshops, including one focused on pitching and another focused on creating a custom ChatGPT PR guru to help guide your strategic PR efforts too. So stay tuned for more details. We're really excited about both of those opportunities. And thank you for tuning in to the A100 podcast and sticking with me for this solo cast series the last few weeks. I hope you've had as much fun as I have. And if you have any questions at all, or you want a copy of that new AI ebook, please just shoot me an email at cgallagher@onwardupward.com. I'll get that your way. I am happy to answer any questions or schedule some time to chat. Like I said, this is just a topic that I really, really love. Stay tuned for our next podcast coming out next Wednesday, where we'll get back to our traditional guest format. And until then, keep pushing forward and embracing the power of AI in your efforts. Thanks for listening.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks for listening to the Association 100 podcast, brought to you by the A100 publishing team, powered by Onward and Upward Marketing and Communications. You can subscribe to the Association 100 podcast on Spotify so you'll never miss out, or listen via our website at theassociation100.com. Follow us for all the latest insights and trends impacting the world of associations. Thanks for tuning in.